Jam-packed week coming up for the stock market this week, guys. Finally, we're getting some excitement, right? We have earnings coming up from the banks. They're kicking off earnings season. We're going to break down a bunch of banks in this video, and we have the CPI data from December coming out this week on Thursday, January 12th at 8:30 a.m. So we have a lot to break down in this video. All I ask from you is, if you find value, to hit that like button, and of course, make sure to subscribe, and let's just dive into the video. So I'm filming this at about 7:30 p.m. on Sunday night, so the futures market is open. Let's see how these futures are trading very quickly here. Then we'll talk about SPY, Triple Q. Then we'll dive into these, individual stocks, which many of which that we're going to talk about are bank stocks today. So the futures are up a little bit. S&P futures are up about 0.1% right now. Let me pull those up. Pushing up about 5 points, nothing crazy. Dow futures are up, let me see here, about 0.1% as well. Let me pull these up, /YM. There we go. And then we have the NASDAQ futures up 0.1 as well. Probably same with the Russell. Yeah, so pretty much all of them are up. Not crazily, but just a little bit here, which I guess is a good sign for the bulls, considering on Friday the bulls had a heck of a day. I mean, the NASDAQ went up 2.8%, Russell up 2.3%, S&P up 2.3%, as well as the Dow went up about 2.1%. So that seems to be, as of now, which, who knows, it could flip-flop easily overnight, but it seems like as of now that is continuing, which is good for the bulls. And if I pull up SPY, you guys know I've been talking about this for days on the channel. I mean, quite some time at this point, more than days. You know, we have the head and shoulders on SPY. The left shoulder's right here, the head's right here, the right shoulder. You guys see that. And now this week we're going to be testing 390, which is the neckline of the head and shoulders. If that breaks on SPY, bulls are going to have a very good next couple of days, in my opinion. I think there could be a serious move, maybe back towards 400, maybe even over 400. But if we get rejected, which if we pull the intraday up, we did see a little bit of resistance there to end off the day. But, I mean, it was a monstrous day for the bulls on Friday. So I'm not going to really count that as a rejection, obviously. But we'll see how it goes this week. But if we get, rejected at that point, 390, 388, we might be going back down to 375, 380 in the snap of a finger. So keep that in mind. And when I pull up Triple Q, let me take a look here at this, some key levels that I'm watching for the upcoming week. There we go. We can see this closed right under 270 last week, which you all can see 270. We failed there earlier in January, also in the end of December. So 270 needs to break. If it does, I think we fill the gap to 275. Maybe we start running towards 278, maybe 280 at that point. But we'll see how it plays out. Of course, 270 is a big point. It's at 268. It closed roughly at 268. So let's see what it does. My alert is set right at $270. And like I said in the intro, guys, CPI is coming out this week. This week on Thursday, January 12th, 8:30 a.m., we get the December CPI. And the year-over-year forecast right now, well, it's probably not going to change, but based on what I'm seeing, is 6.5% year-over-year forecast. And, of course, that is annualized. And the month-over-month forecast is actually at 0%. And I got all this from, what's the website called again? forexfactory.com/calendar. Go check that out, guys. We got all that. I got all that information from there. We also have core CPI month-over-month looking to be 0.3%. We'll see how that comes in. But overall, inflation keeps on, I'm not going to say keeps on coming down, because it hasn't. I mean, we haven't seen month after month after month yet, but it's slowly starting to peak. And a lot of economists, I think Michael Burry even tweeted out a couple days ago recently, you know how he deletes his tweets, or does he not delete them anymore because Elon's in now? Either way, I think he still deletes his tweets. He says something about inflation peaking. He said that inflation is going to come down, and the Fed's going to, do what they always do, lower the rates again, pretty much start, in other words, stimulating the economy, and then they're going to have to, raise rates again. That's pretty much, if I remember correctly, what he said in the tweet. In other words, the cycle that we've been seeing for quite some time is going to continue. That's what he says. He says, he said that inflation is going to come down momentarily, but then the Fed's going to, lower rates, and then it's going to spike up again. So he thinks, from what I gathered from that tweet, Michael Burry thinks that we're going to see a drop of inflation this year, back half of the year, if I remember correctly, and then it's going to spike back up, we'll see. I mean, a lot of people's predictions these days, they don't come true. A lot of them seem wild, let's be honest. But who knows? That could be one worth keeping the back of your mind. So CPI this week, Thursday, it's going to be a very, very big week, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. That's going to be a big day, and earnings season finally is upon us. Earnings season is the best time to really track stocks, especially if you're making content. Obviously, a lot of people out there are not making content. They're watching my videos or other people's videos, but it's just a great time to see how companies are doing, first of all, to see how they're doing compared to previous quarters, previous years, and of course, to see, how at this point we're really paying attention to companies' earnings, considering the time period that we're in right now, the recession. I want to see how these companies do, and of course, it's great to make content, and it's always when people are looking at their portfolios, when their big positions are reporting earnings, right? A lot of these big tech companies are coming up this month. So Bank of America is reporting this week, I believe on Friday. Yeah, that's on Friday. They're all on Friday. The 13th before the market, 8:30 a.m. on the East Coast. So Bank of America is looking to do 79 cents. And all these estimates that we're going to talk about in this video, guys, that's all they are, estimates. Bank of America is looking to do EPS of 79 cents on revenue of $24.41 billion, which would be up roughly 10% year over year. And again, they're on the 13th in the morning, and we can see here clearly Bank of America has been reversing, and it's actually fighting. The bulls are fighting on this thing. We held a higher low here. You guys can see if I pull this up. We held a higher low at about 31.32. We hit $29 a couple months ago. That was in the middle of October. So bulls are fighting on this thing. We actually took out the highs from the middle of December, which is great. And now we're right at the 180 SMA on the 4-hour chart, right around $35, which if that breaks on BAC, guys, there could be a continuation here. The momentum could continue maybe from $35, $37 towards $39. That is where BAC could be going. You guys can see back in the middle of August, we hit about $37. We also hit, again, $38, $39 back, a couple weeks ago. This was in the middle of November. So Bank of America, watch out for it. A lot of people argue Bank of America is the best bank stock. Is it JP Morgan? It's definitely one of those two. Goldman Sachs could be thrown in the mix, but, it's definitely one of those. Bank of America, it's a pretty decent company from my understanding. And I'm far from an expert, in the bank stocks. I'm not one of these YouTubers that's going to be like, oh, I know everything about everything, right? And I've said this before, years. I've been saying this for a while. Bank stocks are not my forte. Let's just put it that way. I've never really I've owned one bank stock. Funny enough, that was one of the first stocks that I made a decent amount of money on, which maybe I'll make a video on that and talk about that. This was a while ago. But other than that bank stock that I owned a long time ago, really, I've never owned any of these big bank stocks. Oh, actually, no, that's a lie. Wells Fargo. You guys know that. I forgot for a second. We've talked about Wells Fargo. I've owned that. Not anymore. I did own it, but I sold out for a loss. And really, it's other than that, I'm not too into the bank stocks. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. But if I were to own one, if I had to own one for the long term, it's going to be JP Morgan, but this thing has really ran. I mean, if you guys take a look here, this stock was at $101, and I'm not going to lie, I'm kicking myself a little bit because this is one that I was going to buy if it were to go just a little bit lower. I was looking at it at 100, and again, I'm not a big bank stock guy, but I was like, is this the moment where I'm going to add these bank stocks or one of these big bank stocks to the portfolio? Because, I've been eyeing up JPM or BAC, and it got to 100. I was looking at it at 90 to buy a little bit of it potentially, and then it ran away from me. Look at it now. It's at 138. It is up a whopping 37% in the past couple of weeks, and they're looking to report on, what day is that? They're looking to report on the 13th in the morning, and they're looking to do EPS of $3.12 versus, actually, not versus. I'm so used to saying that. They didn't report yet, guys, but the EPS estimate is looking to be $3.12 on revenue of $34.3 billion, which would be up about 13%. So expect growing revenue on BAC, JP Morgan, and this chart looks pretty good. JP Morgan rather looks like it wants to break out of 138, 140. It wants to by the looks of it. And where are the all-time highs on this thing? 172, right? So, yeah, this could really start building up some momentum if it could take out 140. If I zoom in a bit here on the max chart, you guys can see back in the beginning of 2020, before the crash, COVID crash, JP Morgan was right at 140 and it failed. So this is going to be a sticking point potentially in the future, which if we break 140 this week, guys, who knows, JP Morgan could really, really at that point start taking off. But be mindful of the head and shoulders potentially forming here if this does fail at the neckline, which I just butchered the right shoulder there, but bear with me, guys, if it fails at 140. So yeah, JP Morgan, watch out for it heading into this week. They're reporting at the end of the week. Big, big, big company to watch out for. And we also have Citigroup. They're looking to do EPS of $1.21 on revenue of $17.86 billion, which that would be up about 5% roughly year over year. And it looks like Wells Fargo is looking to be, actually, no, we'll talk about that in a second. They're actually projected to be decreasing or reporting declining revenues year over year. But Citigroup here, we can see, it looks like I had a channel drawn out a couple months ago. I actually haven't really looked at the stock in a while. But yeah, it looks like it's still trading in a downwards channel. Nothing really much has changed in the past couple of months from when I last analyzed it. And you guys can see, if I just get a new channel and just draw it out, boom, it is still trading in this channel. So out of all the bank stocks, guys, I would not, technically speaking, I would not look at this one. I would much rather look at a JP Morgan or even a Bank of America, right? Going back to Bank of America, if this starts breaking $35, it could start getting some headway. But either way, I'm watching Citigroup solely for the purpose, because of, they're reporting earnings on the 13th, right? Yeah, 13th in the morning. So they're looking to do $1.21 in EPS on revenue of $17.86 billion, which would be up about 5% year over year. So watch out for Citigroup, and Wells Fargo is another one, which again, I've mentioned before on the channel that I lost money on this years ago. And at this point, I'm not going to lie, even though I'm not looking at it as a long-term investment, I'm looking at this as a trade. The channel, uptrending channel is holding. You guys can clearly see that. We're fighting, making higher lows very, very clearly. You guys see that here on the 4-hour chart. And we actually, the past couple of weeks, not even the past couple of weeks, really, it's just been about a week or two that this thing has seen about a 7% pop. It broke over the 50 SMA here, and it looks like it wants to test mid-40s. Maybe it starts breaking the mid-40s here. So let me set my alert. Mark is at or above $45, and they're reporting on, let me see here, 13th, right? Or no, wait a second. Why does it say 18th now? That's weird. It says the conference call is on the 18th, but the earnings are on the 13th. Either way, they're on the 13th, guys. Take my word for that. So watch out for Wells Fargo. And we also have United Health Group. But before we talk about United Health Group, have you guys gotten your free stocks in the description box? You can get 12 stocks from Webull with any amount deposited. And you could also get up to 15 stocks from Moomoo. Link down below. If you guys want some free money, who doesn't like free money in this crazy bear market that we're in right now? Use those links down below. StocksForFest.com/Webull, StocksForFest.com/Moomoo. You get some free stocks. It also helps out the channel, guys. I appreciate you all as always. And now let's talk about UNH. So UNH is one of those stocks in the Dow that just had a ridiculous stretch. I mean, it had a ridiculous stretch. The past couple of years, this stock is up from $187 at the COVID low all the way to $560. And this is not one of those stocks that is way off the all-time highs. It pretty much just hit it did hit an all-time high a couple weeks ago. And now we're just about $50 off the highs, but still up a good amount from the lows back in the COVID crash. So UNH at this point is approaching, at this point, a very big level of support, right around $490. You guys can see back in June, we held that point multiple times. Then we saw a rally to 500 plus. Back in middle October, we held that point. Then we rallied to 560. Now we're at that point again. And we have earnings coming up this week, maybe on Thursday. No, they're on Friday as well, Friday morning as well. So UNH is heading into these earnings at a very oversold spot. And mind you, we have all week to trade this thing heading into earnings, so anything could happen. But at this point, it's pretty oversold. if these earnings, let's say they bomb, okay, maybe this sell-off gets even worse. We go under 480, 485, it gets worse. But if they're decent, if the earnings are solid, the stock's already down about 12% heading into the earnings. Maybe we do get a little bit of a relief rally considering how oversold United Health Group is. Just a thought. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. And we also have Delta Airlines this week, which had a pretty good Friday, 2.3%. And does it not seem like it's at a multi-month resistance, guys? Well, yes, because it is. You guys see it's at 40? No, less than that. $36 right now. $36, which you guys can see we have failed at that point time and time again since the middle of August, right? You guys can see we failed here. We failed here multiple times in November, December, and we're about to test it now. Are we going to fail again, or is this going to successfully break $36 and start taking off towards the 40s? And to be honest, it all comes down to the earnings on this one, in my opinion. This is one of those stocks that's very volatile during earnings season. At least from what I've seen recently, 2 quarters ago, it went from $29 to about $33, and it ran all the way to about $35. Then last quarter, it hit about 28, and then within a couple weeks, it ran to $35. So if these earnings are strong, this could easily break $36. Let's put it that way, and start going to about 40. Maybe it goes up even higher than that. So I'm going to set my alert at $36.50 on Delta Airlines. They're looking to do EPS of $1.34 on revenue of $12.39 billion, which that would be up 30%. Yeah, they're looking to grow revenue pretty nicely year over year. And the last company reporting earnings this week that I want to talk about, guys, is BlackRock, ticker symbol BLK, which went up 5.2% on Friday. Very strong day. And right off the bat, we have a head and shoulders on BlackRock. You guys can see that right here. We're under the neckline as of now, which is right around 790. The stock is at 738 right now. So as long as we're under 790, guys, that right shoulder is intact. Let's put it that way. And BlackRock is reporting this week. So let's see what direction this thing ends up picking. I'm not going to lie. It's been doing pretty well the past couple of weeks. Very well. I mean, it was at $500 back in the middle of October. Now it's up 45% from that point. And it looks like as of last week, Friday, again, 5% green day, looks like it's starting to break out. We're back over the moving averages here heading into earnings this upcoming week, which those earnings are on the 13th on Friday. Surprise, like all these earnings are. So BlackRock is looking to do $7.88 in EPS on a revenue of $4.25 billion, which would be down about 17% year over year. So expect BlackRock's numbers to be declining year over year for revenue. And again, watch out for that head and shoulders, which I'm not going to lie, the fact that we are breaking out here of the moving averages on the 3-year chart, and we actually ever so slightly took the highs out from August back in. We did that in early November. The fact that we did that, that's a good sign for the bulls, leading me to believe that this head and shoulders might be out of the window, might be out the window here at any point if it starts breaking out even further, but we're not there yet. I'm going to set my alert at, let's say, $750, $750, and we'll see where it ends up going from that point. By the way, if you guys are still here, let me know in the comments. Stay stuck till the end, or drop an emoji, money emoji. Hit that like button too if you haven't done so already, and make sure to subscribe, guys. It really helps me out overall in the algorithm. I think on this channel, 40% of you guys watching are not subscribed, so if that's you, make sure to subscribe. And on the other channel, Stas Talks Money, I think 82, I was looking at my stats the other day, 82% of you guys are not subscribed on Stas Talks Money. So if you have not subscribed to Stas Talks Money, go to the YouTube search bar, go down below, type in Stas Talks Money, and make sure to subscribe, because the content on there, I promise you guys, you're going to like the content, and we're only making better content on that channel moving forward. I do have a lot of plans that, we're going to be doing some cool stuff on that channel moving forward. Let's just keep it at that. So go to Stas Talks Money, and make sure to subscribe. I appreciate you guys as always. And the last one here is Boeing, which is a subscriber request for my last video. This thing has gone ballistic recently. I mean, and we actually called it out before it even broke over 200. And this thing just keeps on taking off day after day, week after week, it seems like. And we have to pull the longer-term charts on this thing to see what's going on, to see what's really going on. If we look here on the 3-year chart, we're noticing Boeing took out the highs from March of 2022. We broke out of the 50 SMA very clearly here. Now we're approaching in real time. Well, not real time. The stock market's not trading, but you guys get what I mean. We're approaching 225, which you all can see. That was the resistance point. Big resistance from all the way back from August of 21, stemming throughout February of 22. So we're talking a good 6-month span. Boeing kept trying to break 225, kept trying to break 225, kept trying to break 225, and then it ultimately failed, and it got nailed all the way down to about 115, which is where we were in May of this year. And you guys can see, we're probably going to be testing 225. Again, if I had to guess, at some point to 2023, we will be testing $225 a share here on Boeing. That's my guess. And if we do break that point, we have a wide open window to 240. If 240 breaks, we could fill the gap back to 255, 260. So there could be some more upside on this thing. I like it. But we have to see if it breaks 225. So what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Again, we have a big week this week. Earnings are coming up. CPI. I hope you guys are ready. So again, hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe. Get your free stocks from Moomoo, from Webull. Link down below. And if you guys want to check out my Patreon, if you like the way I break down charts, a lot of that on Patreon. If you like, just the way all the content that I make, produce, there's a lot more of that on Patreon. Check it out. Discord as well. You get more access to me throughout the day. That's linked down below. And with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.